Welcome to I'm an Asset podcast. I'm your co-host, Dr. Breanne Smith.
And I'm your other co-host, Zachary Wilson.
Today we're going to be talking about deciding on a career, thinking about what career might best fit your personality. And Zachary took a Myers-Briggs test, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. So as you know, it's December. It's almost Christmas. And with that, a lot of deadlines are coming for scholarships and, where you're going to go. But, it's also kind of nearing the end of it's the halfway point of my senior year. And I'm starting to think, what am I going to do when I'm out of high school? What exactly am I going to study at the college I'm going to? Because that's going to be determined by what career I choose. Mm-hmm. So lately, I've just been having a lot of thoughts. That's kind of the whole exigence behind this decision as to what am I going to do with my life.
So there's a Myers-Briggs personality test that helps you kind of decipher what you like to do and what you might find enjoyable. What I like about the Myers-Briggs test, and I want to hear your feedback on if you liked it or what you maybe didn't like about it, but it asks you outside of the context of a job. It asks you personality-related questions that don't actually have anything to do with working. It really has more to do with what you like to do, this versus that, and some comparisons. And that helps you think about, your life as a whole and your personality as a whole and your career choice, how it would fit into those desires. So what do you think?
I feel like no matter what it gave me, it could say something and I'd be like, yeah, I could see how I'm like that. Mm-hmm. But so I'm really trying to examine it from like a third party perspective, not from myself, and try to think, when it's telling me I'm a natural born leader, I'm trying to think of like other instances where I've actually portrayed a quality like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Is that what it said? You're a natural born leader?
Yes, it did.
Is that all it said?
No, it said some other stuff, but that was like the first thing it said. Mm-hmm. And I actually recognized this. I took it a few years back. I can't remember why. But it gave me a different one. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what it was, but I remember it was green. Mm-hmm. And then this one was purple.
Mm. What was the name of the purple result?
It said Commander.
Commander. Okay.
Is that what you had?
I hadn't taken it in quite a while. I don't know. But that's an interesting point, though, that you took it a while ago and then you got a different result, which I think is valid because
I think that's valid.
I think you have grown tremendously in just the last 6 months. And I think that has a lot to do with working and balancing school and getting ready for school and really starting to be conscientious of the fact that you're about to be moving, in a year and be in a different place. And you've been thinking a lot about that. And so I think even if you have taken a Myers-Briggs in the past, maybe it's a good idea, and it's been a while, maybe it's a good idea to take it again, because as you grow, which I hope everyone is trying to focus on growing, your personality and your desires and wants, they may change.
I entirely agree. And when you said it was valid, I also agree with that. I mean, it makes sense that who you are today is not who you were, a few years ago, right? Hopefully in that time there is some kind of change. And I mean, I don't know, maybe necessarily. What do you think? Do you think a person should change over time? I don't think they should change, but I think change is not bad.
I think I want to change the word change to grow, because I think growing is something that everybody should consider a good thing in your life, and just staying in the same place year after year. I mean, there's always something to grow in, even if as the external environment is changing around you, how we can grow. I mean, you don't want to go backwards, but moving forward. And, I don't ever think you get to the point where you're done.
Yeah.
You're done growing. So give me some insight on what a commander means. Like what kind of things did it say about?
I can read it to you because it would be very difficult for me to try to articulate this from memory.
Mm-hmm.
It said, "You're a natural born leader with an unparalleled drive to turn your visions into reality. Your strategic mind excels at seeing the big picture, identifying long-term goals, and devising efficient plans to achieve them. You possess a rare combination of confidence, charisma, and decisiveness that draws others to you and inspires them to follow your lead."
Does it give you any insight on what a good career choice would be for a commander?
Not without paying extra money.
Oh,
But
okay.
not like particular careers.
Mm-hmm. Well, there definitely are. I want to take this one step further, and maybe we can update everybody next time. There are, I mean, I want you to go further and get the recommendations based on your personality, just because I think, you'd still have to guess if you don't see what maybe an external party would say that personality fits best in these areas. Versus maybe what people and who know you have been telling you, or what other people in your life feel like you should do this, you should do that. But somebody who's never met you, or a software that's never met you that says, this personality fits good in these recommendations. I think that's something to give you some additional points that you might not have thought about otherwise.
I think you're right. I would say the for sure, because I've had people all my life tell me what you should and shouldn't
Yeah.
be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's good to have this perspective. Now, to be able to take a test in 5 minutes that tells you all that, it's a little that makes me waver a little bit, because I'm like, well, you haven't met me, so there are some things you don't know, but I guess it's unbiased.
Yeah. Well, and I also think that taking more than one is probably a good idea. So you take this one. Yes, I want to pay for the extra information that you could get from taking the test, and then maybe try some other ones. Is there some really good personality tests out there that help with thinking about your career? I think about your sister when she first started going to college. Exactly what you said happened to her, where she has someone in her life who is a nurse who was like, you should be a nurse, you should be a nurse, you should be a nurse. I was like, great, if that's what you really want to do. And I think in the back of my mind, knowing her personality, especially, your sister does not like needles. Your sister doesn't like gross things. And those are the kind of things that nurses have to deal with all the time. The personality side of what you do, it matters. And just because there are some things maybe about being a nurse that seemed amazing, like you could just wear scrubs every day and work in a hospital and work in a high pace environment, which is something that your sister thrives in. She would like that about it. But all the other things that go along with being a nurse, and the coursework that went along with being a nurse, she didn't like it all. And so immediately, a few weeks into school, knew this is not what she wanted to do. So I think and now she's in a major that perfectly fits her personality, and she loves, and she's thriving. And I think taking personality tests and trying to blur out some of the noise of what other people are telling you should do this, maybe give it some other thought, because it will set you back a semester possibly if you're in like switching from nursing to like a business degree would be a completely different school within the college. So it could set you back a semester, and you might not switch majors fast enough. You might drag on with it for a few semesters and then make the change in your second year. And that is going to set you back probably in finishing within 4 years. So spending $20-$30 on a survey, I think is worth it when you consider it could save you a lot of time, headache,
That's
miserable.
what I'm worried about, is that I'm going to have to change my major, and I don't want to do that. because I want to get out of college as fast as I can.
Yeah. Well, but don't miss it, man. College is great, a great experience, a great time to grow up, a great time to meet people that you're going to be friends with your whole life, and that, you'll be,
Yeah, for sure. We've already talked about a lot of the benefits in past episodes, and I sure am going to enjoy it while I'm there. I wanted to also say, it said something about, because you were asking what specific careers, it said something about climbing the corporate ladder or owning my own business, or kind of just having goals in general, and like it said having a grand vision, stuff like that.
That's something that you have, or that
Yes.
yeah. And I think I agree. You definitely do. I think you think ahead about things that you want, and you try to say yes to the things that align with that. So I think just participating in some surveys and questionnaires, I think, will be just even more beneficial as far as you're honing in on that vision. And even though you have a vision and you know what you like to do, it's kind of hard when you don't exactly know what you're going to be doing in 10 years, 5-10 years, and what that's going to be like. It's kind of hard you feel like a lot of pressure to pick right. But I mean, you can always change. You can pivot. People do it all the time. This is really just meant to give you a little more starting power. So what kind of careers are you thinking about?
I think I've put a lot of thought into this. Let's see. I don't want a job where I'm gonna be like gone all the time. Like, I want something with a set schedule, that I know when I can expect when I'm going to be at work. Because for me, I do not dislike anything more than when, I don't know, like someone surprises me with some event, and I have to, like, at the last minute
Move your schedule around.
move my schedule around, because it's not just the schedule, it's like the anticipation of doing something that I don't want to do. Or I'm not necessarily correlating that with work. I just like to be able to kind of allow myself to, what is the word I'm looking for? I can't.
Plan, prepare, be ready, be mentally ready.
I'll say, yeah, like mentally prepare myself for like what I'm going to do.
One thing that you do with your schedule that I think is very wise is that you do plan time in your schedule to do nothing or do the things that you like to do. Like, I know you like to play video games and you like to do online things with your friends. You also like to watch movies and read books and exercise. So you do plan in your schedule to do those things for yourself. And sometimes when somebody at least this is how it is for me, I'm very scheduled as well. When somebody springs something on me that's a surprise, and I have to, move around some of those things, and sometimes not get to do the things that are rest to me, it is disruptive.
Exactly. Yeah.
But so I think that is one thing I like about what I do as a job is it is very predictable, and it is scheduled, and I kind of set most of that schedule myself.
Let's see. Other areas. Obviously, I want to make a decent amount of money. I don't want to make. Well, I mean, anybody would want to make like hundreds of thousands of or millions of dollars, but like, I know that to make that kind of money, I'm gonna have to put in that kind of work, and I'm obviously you're naturally compelled to want to contribute to society. So, obviously, I want to put in a lot of work, but I don't want to put in so much work that it takes away time from what I really want to do with my life. Like, I want to make a lot of money, but I also want to do a lot of, creative stuff on my own that is fulfilling. And I can't do that if I'm spending all my time at work. So I want to make enough money to where I have a good standard of living, but not so much that I'm spending all my time at work.
Yeah, but also something to consider is that how can you get that fulfillment from doing the creative things that you love and enjoy and
That's a good
making
point.
money from it? Unless it actually, if it was something that, if this was my job, I would hate it, and it takes all the enjoyment out of it. But I think, you have a lot of hobbies and things that you like to do. And if those actually, something in that area actually turned into career, it might not feel as much as work.
Maybe like a side hustle that I don't have I don't have everything riding on the fact that it has to work, but I could try it out for like my own kind of thing. Because I think I do like to separate the work and the personal life stuff. I don't know if entangling that together would be wise for me particularly. For others, I envy, those who can kind of do both at the same time.
Well, what kind of careers are you thinking about?
I don't think I want a corporate, because the thing is, the reason I like the idea of owning my own business is that I'm already at the top. It's kind of you versus improvement, and like the well, to some this might seem more daunting than the corporate ladder, but it's kind of like the potential to how great your business is up to you. That's kind of what you're faced off against. And I feel like the corporate ladder is almost, you're kind of faced against the other people there and trying to like beat them.
Yeah.
So you can climb the ladder.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like I'd rather focus on, in the personality test, it said constantly trying to make things more efficient. And I definitely resonated with that, because I do that a lot. And I feel like as a business owner and a leader, that's kind of something, those things work well together. And I think more so than the corporate ladder, because maybe in a corporate setting, you could have all these efforts and they'd be recognized and you get promoted. That's kind of the whole deal. But as a business owner, all your efforts in improving the business you're at directly help the business and you, because you're taking the profits home. Does that make any sense?
It does. It's also, being a business owner, there's a lot of pressure that goes along with it. And I think when you transition from employee to CEO, there is a lot of your work that goes into taking care of and building a good team. Because I heard somebody say recently that it's really building a good team is what makes a company successful. And I believe that. Like, I really feel like, especially if you want to do something big, like we are trying to do here and that we are doing here, it's just not one person that could do that. And I think a lot of the work that I do and that the CEOs do is just taking care of the people that are involved in the business and your clients, your employees, your team. And that is actually a lot of work to do that. It's not easy peasy.
There was one particular question that asked, do you prefer to do work, or it said, because it's only agree or disagree is the answers. It said, you agree, or you prefer to have spontaneous bursts of work time, or do you prefer to consistently in small like increments throughout the day, like just work? Which one are you?
I'm the latter. So I like to, even though I would say I work 7 days a week, I do have planned times when I work and then planned times when I don't and do other things all 7 of those days. And I may work on a Saturday morning, but I might just plan a couple of hours for myself. And work might be, I'm working on a research paper. So in my mind, that's sitting at a computer, doing something that needs to be done that takes intense focus. So I like to do certain things on certain days when I'm alone versus, in the middle of everybody who is also going to be pulling and tugging at my time. And so I need to be prepared for when I work, but some of it's going to be less focused times than others. And that's how I think about it. But I also I don't like just work being, sporadic.
Mm-hmm.
I like it to be consistently planned.
I think I'm a combination of both because I definitely plan when I'm going to work.
Mm-hmm.
If you're really trying to always be productive, you have to schedule when you are doing what.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I like to work before I play. So those are very broad terms.
Mm-hmm.
But in a way, I like to get up early and do everything and knock all that out as quickly as possible before, I do anything that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I almost kind of went with the spontaneous thing because I would rather like sit down and do everything and be given a quota that I reach rather than work for this amount of time. I would hate that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that's something they do in the military. In the military, I don't think it's like, in this one thing I saw, I don't think it's like you run however many miles, you run 10 miles. I think it's like you run for this long and you keep up. And I don't want to do that. That's kind of not as analogous as what I'm trying to say. But that whole 8 to 5 thing is really, it's difficult for me because I would rather be given, here's a bunch of tasks you're supposed to do in this, how long is 8 to 5? That's 9 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the amount of tasks you should be able to do in 9 hours and then do that. Because I don't want, like, you just work for 9 hours and then when you're done with the next thing, just grab something else. I would be more motivated to say this should take 9 hours, and then I would work as fast as I can to see if I could do it in 8 hours and then go home.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't like cut corners, but like I would motivate me to actually work faster.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. Yeah. So I think that gives us some insight into what you're thinking about as a career. You still haven't named like specific jobs. So I think what I'd like to do is I'd like for you to take some other personality tests that actually recommend specific careers. And I'd like to talk about those.
Okay. I know one my counselor said we can do. It's on our website for the college thing.
Good.
I can do that. And it will give career
recommendations,
salaries and goal on like choices and stuff.
Wonderful.
But do you want to throw out some career ideas you think?
For you?
What do you think?
I personally think just because I've worked with you for the last, in my businesses for the last 8 months, I think you would be an amazing accountant. I think you'd be an amazing financial advisor. And I think you'd actually do pretty good at information systems. We do all three of those things here. And I've seen you dabble in each of those areas. And I think you have promise in each of those areas. So I think the beautiful thing about that is that's all in the business school. And so a lot of the core classes for each of those majors are the same. So you also need to have each of those classes in your course. So you'll get to try it out before you really have to decide. And I think that's going to be good. I also think you're really funny and witty. And I enjoy doing this with you, which has nothing to do with any of those technical skills, but more of along the lines of the personality side. And we've talked about you doing acting and voice acting and actually doing acting on stage. And I think you'd be great at that. I don't know that would give you the scheduled career
That's more of like a creative
consistency
thing.
that
Yeah.
you wanted. But what's interesting, and I've heard this said many times before, is that really a lot of really great accountants and financial people have really creative sides. And I see that in you too. So I think all that tracks.
Well, thank you. And I've definitely considered that, and I will consider it more. And I agree with what you said. There's a lot of different ways I could go. I think I'm very competitive. And so when I see, someone else doing something, I want to be good at it too.
And do it better.
Yeah. So I feel like I could almost go into any field I want as long as I have the passion.
100%. You could do anything you want. And so you should really pick what you want to do, not what everybody else wants you to do. So I think that was some good information. I think we got more work to do though. So I want some more insight on it, some other surveys.
For sure.
Next time.
Sure.
We're also, we're coming up on the end of the year. So we're going to do a year-end planning podcast next time. So y'all tune back in. Have a very Merry Christmas.
We'll see you next time.